Kim Kardashian. Boo!
You suck!
Yes, observations there provided by the crowd in relation to Kim Kardashian, who had a less than welcome reception just recently. Adam Levy reports for the Daily Mail Kim Kardashian was booed by the crowd Sunday evening at the Kia Forum in her hometown of Los Angeles when she took the podium at the roast of Tom Brady. The reality star, 43, appeared caught off guard by the chilly reception at the event, which was broadcast on Netflix as part of the streaming service's Netflix is a Joke Fest. The Los Angeles native was immediately jeered as she made her way on stage, pausing for a moment after thanking host Kevin Hart, 44. She appeared to be launching into a joke, telling Hart, "I know a lot of people make fun of your height," before appearing to do a double take at the outburst from her less than adoring public. The greatest roast of all time, Tom Brady, which was part of the Netflix is a Joke Fest, was streamed live, which Netflix touted as the first ever roast to be telecast live, unedited. The festivities were held at LA's Kia Forum in Inglewood. Kardashian, who sported blonde locks as she held a champagne glass at the event in Southern California, sought to get the show back on track, saying, "All right, all right, all right." Hart himself appeared to jump in to do damage control as he said, "Whoa, whoa," clearly thought that he was on a horse. In her set, Kardashian alluded to past rumours of a romance with Brady after they crossed paths last summer at a July the 4th party in the Hamptons. "I'm really here tonight for Tom," said Kardashian, who past-dated NFL players including Reggie Bush and Miles Austin. "I wasn't going to come tonight, but since I'm not here as Tom's date, there's still a good chance I might." She joked in reference to her 2007 sex tape with Ray J. "I know there were some rumours that we were, and I'd never say if we did or not. I'd just release a tape." Kardashian's set also included a reference to Caitlyn Jenner, who was formerly married to her mother, Kris Jenner. "I do know it would have never worked out," Kardashian said, "an ex-athlete, high cheekbones, silky hair. You remind me too much of my stepdad now." She added, "Part of me thinks you would want to entrust me just to try on my clothes. I know the transition from the NFL must have been really hard, but I think my stepdad is a great example for you. She's one of the best athletes in the world who proved you could do anything in this next chapter in your life. You can become a commentator, a far-right Republican, or even a strong, confident woman." Kardashian made a reference to her late father Robert Kardashian's work on the late O.J. Simpson's dream team of attorneys to wrap up her set. "Honestly, it's hard for me to watch people roast you," Kim said, "but I think enough of my family members have helped defend former football players." She concluded in saying, "So I'm just here tonight to support you and celebrate you. I'll give you the same advice I give all of my exes. Good luck knowing the best is behind you. Cheers, everyone, to Tom Brady." Kardashian was involved in another awkward moment at the show when comedian Tony Hinchcliffe peppered her with a few barbs. Hinchcliffe made reference to Will Ferrell's cameo at the comedy show in character as his anchorman persona Ron Burgundy, who in the 2004 film said, "Discovered by the Germans in 1904, they named it San Diego, which of course in German means a whale's vagina." A whale's vagina, which reminds me, Kim Kardashian's here. She's had a lot of black men celebrate in her end zone, Hinchcliffe said. "Kim, word of advice, close your legs. You have more public beef than Kendrick and Drake." A number of people on Sunday took to social media with real-time reactions to the chilly reception Kardashian received at the comedy event. "Kim Kardashian getting booed at the Tom Brady roast is incredible," one user wrote, while another said they just booed Kim Kardashian before she even said a word, LMFAO. Another user stated Bill Belichick gets a standing ovation and Kim Kardashian gets booed. The Tom Brady roast is the best thing Netflix has ever produced. Some users said that the booing was reflective of the public's general exhaustion with the Kardashians and their broadcasting marketing empire. Guess you should only appear live when you can control the narrative. Otherwise, you'll get booed right off the stage every time, the user said, adding Team Yeezy to the end of their post. Said another user, we keep trying to tell the powers that be that we don't want that family in our spaces, yet they insist on pushing them in our faces anyway. Another stated, holy shit, like half the audience at the Tom Brady roast just mercilessly booed Kim Kardashian to the point where she had to stop and acknowledge it, one user said. Another added, OMG, they booed Kim Kardashian so bad, that was embarrassing. Audience only stopped because Kevin asked them to stop. Now, of course, Kim Kardashian has gained considerable level of fame and notoriety, and with that, wealth. But there also comes the point that she is, of course, not to everybody's cup of tea. And what's interesting, of course, is her reaction to being booed. She seems surprised by it, which demonstrates, of course, the delusion by which she operates, similar to many narcissists, of thinking that everybody loves her. She expects to be able to go to such an event and that she would be able to say her piece and that people would laugh and that they would applaud. And thus, of course, she gains the fuel by virtue of people's responses. She did not expect to be booed. That booing, of course, is fuel for her. It's a reaction to her presence. But it is challenge fuel because it is critical of her. Kardashian is not a highly provocative narcissist. She wants people to like her. Of course, she engages in provocative behaviours, but she isn't somebody who engages in what you might describe as shithousery, so that she laps up people's anger and frustration at her, and she wants more and she revels in it. That's typical, for instance, of Ibrahimovic, the footballer. He enjoys the shithousery and as a narcissist thrives on being a highly provocative nature. He wants people booing him and he enjoys being booed. It doesn't bother him because he recognizes himself as being superior to all around him and that those are just the little people who are envious of him. To him, if you're booing the Zlatan, you're acknowledging his greatness, and it's all good. But with Kim Kardashian, she's not that similar type of narcissist as Zlatan Ibrahimovic. What she wants to be is loved. She wants to be admired and adored. And ordinarily she is, as a consequence of her sheep-like followers that praise her and do so with their simplistic observations on her social media. But of course, she becomes representative of an aspect of society that many people see as meaningless, trashy, and not attractive in the slightest. And thus she has her detractors. And accordingly, when she appears, she's booed. It's challenge fuel, and it took her by surprise. It caused her to hesitate. It caused her to look surprised because she didn't expect it. She wasn't wounded because she's receiving the fuel, but her control is threatened. And it was only as a consequence of the intervention of Kevin Hart which caused the booing to stop. This is the risk, of course. The arrogance of Kim Kardashian is to believe that the public always adore her. But the problem is, they don't. And in this instance, they made their feelings known by booing her. She anticipated a warm reception. She didn't get it, and instead ends up being booed, taking her by surprise, threatening her control, and she was only rescued from that threat to control by Kevin Hart. She wasn't in a position to come back with some pithy observation, some excellent put-down that would put the crowd in place. She lacks the mental faculties to do so. It wasn't the case also that she wasn't in a position to turn to somebody and say, why are they treating me like this? It required the intervention of somebody else to silence the crowd and thus end the threat to control, allowing her to progress with her set. Thereafter, of course, the polite aspects of the audience laughed at the appropriate things that she said, and therefore she gained positive fuel, and the challenge that she experienced melted away. Naturally, this won't cause Kim Kardashian as a narcissist to sit down and think, why did they boo me? Perhaps I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm overexposed. Maybe the way that I've earned a living isn't now to everybody's liking, and perhaps I should just back away quietly. Not at all. She'll feel sorry for herself. She'll go and seek sympathy from relevant individuals. I'm not overexposed, am I? They're just nasty people, aren't they? And of course, the arse lickers and the knee-bending people and the hand kissers will all give her the reassurance that's required and allows her narcissism that sense of subconscious control over the audience and her detractors. But it's useful to see the reaction of a narcissist to challenge fuel and see the response live as it threatens that control and the way that it's dealt with. In a sense, Kim Kardashian was somewhat paralyzed. She didn't know what to do. She had no means of asserting control directly, and it was only as a consequence of Kevin Hart intervening that the threat was nullified. If Hart hadn't interjected, what might have happened? Well, I suspect that she would have attempted to either say something to the audience which wouldn't have worked and she'd have been booed further, thus the challenge would have continued. She would then either have just ploughed on with her set, which would have resulted in people eventually shutting up because they would allow her to speak. Or, quite possibly, she'd have asserted control by withdrawal, by departing from the stage. Unable to control them directly, feeling sorry for herself, feeling that she's being picked on, her narcissism would cause her to retreat from the stage, and thus that would allow, through withdrawal, an assertion of control by nullifying the threat to control. Some might think a wake-up call for Kim Kardashian, but it's not. Her narcissism will not allow her to see what she is. And in the circumstances, it's another lesson that you can learn from with regard to understanding narcissism in action. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.